And it's recording. There we go. All right, so top 3 favorite controllers. What was your idea? Go for it.
We'll start at 3, right?
Yep.
All right, number 3. Sorry, this is all stream of consciousness here. Number 3 is going to be the Genesis.
Just
No,
any.
I'm really the Sega Genesis, the original, the boomerang looking
Oh,
one.
the boomerang one.
Yeah.
Actually, that is an extremely comfortable controller. You
No,
know what?
I'm pretty new to it, but it feels good and it plays well. There's
One,
no noticeable like button lag or anything.
and it's got a nice. It's got that nice fighter style, not having shoulder buttons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, you know what's funny? I didn't put that down. I should. It is. It's a very comfortable controller. It that just shows you I need to get back in the uh, old 16-bit range, which is funny because we just did a episode of 16 our top 16 games. Let's see, that was episode 46 actually. Um, well, since you went with a Sega, I'm gonna say the NES Max Pad then. It was.
Yeah, I thought about that one.
It kind of has a boomerang style to it too, so you didn't have that harsh cutting because that was the 8-bit one. Um,
Yeah.
and it had turbo on it, which was great for Metroid when you had to drop bombs and explode yourself up over the one lip on
Now,
one of the maps.
did the Turbo have the touchpad directional?
So that's the only thing I didn't like about it.
I was gonna say because that sucked.
That thing did suck, and the reason why it sucked, it wasn't very sensitive. What I found out later, because I have one again, is you actually have to push down on it. It clicks down, and then it's very smooth.
Oh, I thought it was like a touch. All you did was rub your finger on it. No wonder
You,
it never worked.
yeah, you had to push down. If you didn't do that, it barely
Yeah,
ever
no, I
worked.
never did that.
Yep, I had the same problem until I learned that, and I learned it as a kid. And it's not like I learned it the other day. But once I learned that, it changed that controller completely. But because of its comfort in the turbo, I kind of overlooked that part because the black ring around it, you could hit it like a controller.
Yeah.
Um, I kind of overlooked that because the original Square controller, after a while, those poked into you, and I just never liked
Oh,
it.
the Nes one? Yeah, they were not comfortable.
Yeah, and Sega had the same problem with their Master System also, except they rounded theirs just a hair more. Those Nintendos were like, freaking, you throw that at an intruder's head, they're dead.
No, Nintendo was like, I'm gonna hurt you, you bastard.
Yeah, you're gonna earn this shit.
You want to play for 6 hours? Good luck with your hands.
Yeah, they always were about that. Like with the Wii and stuff, they're like, "You sure you don't need to take a break?"
Oh, I love that come up. Like, nah, I'm good.
It's like, skip your ass.
Why are you doing this?
All right, where was that on here? Here we go. I've been putting marks by the ones I've said.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
So my second one is the DualSense, which is PS5.
Now, just the PS5 or not? Well, I suppose I've never used the
Oh, this
PS5
is the
one.
PS5 one is completely different than the Dual one
Oh,
from the floor. The DualSense, this is the one that can vibrate and like if you were shooting a bow and arrow, the trigger tightens.
oh yeah, yeah. It does the thing where there's a motor that holds it back a little bit
Yeah,
and stuff. Yeah,
I just
I haven't tried
I
that yet. I
I
wanted to.
f- I fell in love with that thing almost from the start.
I should get one of those. I think you can Bluetooth them to your PC, so I can
Yeah,
try it out.
but I mean, when you're playing Grand Theft Auto 5 on the PS5 and the speaker on the phone on the controller is your phone, so it comes through there. I'm like, this is so fucking awesome.
Isn't there some Resident Evil stuff with it too?
On Village, not every game uses it a lot, but Resident Evil, I don't know because I had the headphones on for Village, so I could hear it was like a surround thing.
Oh, that's
Scared the
right. You
shit
got
out
the
of me.
special headsets. Oh
But yeah,
man.
I know it's pretty new, but that one just shot at my skirt and gave me something good feelings.
Now all I got stuck in my head is hike up your skirt, Nancy. All right. Well, since you went with that one, I will mark this one at my bottom of my list here. Xbox Series controller. And it's kind of like for the same reason you said the Sega one. It's got that boomerang style, but
Yeah.
the Series controller, and I know it differs compared to people, is one of the. I always used to say the 360 controller. Then I got the Xbox One. they made the series controller even a little more comfortable. For me, it is an extraordinarily comfortable controller, and all my fingers fit right where they're supposed to go. Um, that's really it. Well, that, and I use it on my phone, and I can use it on my PC. I can just Bluetooth it to whatever I want, and I
Hmm.
do because I have so many streaming services and crap. But yeah, that's it. Well, that's not it, but that's that one.
Oh, uh, number one is of course the Super Nintendo.
You know what? I was never a Super Nintendo person. I was always the Genesis, but I will admit,
Comfortable, like you said with the Xbox, your fingers were always right there, ready to go. Triggers were right there. I mean, it just was
for
perfect.
for sports games and for non-fighter games, I was always jealous of the Super Nintendo controller because it was nice and round on the sides, so it
Yep.
didn't hurt. The shoulder buttons were really good, like Wayne Gretzky's hockey. If you were playing as Gretzky and you got up right to the offside line without going over and you just flicked the puck, it would actually land right behind the goalie in the net every time.
Nice.
I was jealous of that control. Other than fighting games, I did not like it because you really needed all your buttons right next to each
Yeah,
other.
I didn't play a lot of fighting games other than like Killer Instinct and Super Street Fighter 2. But yeah, the Super Nintendo controller is my all-time favorite. Just comfort and ease of use.
I wouldn't argue that. That was good. But that one, and I'll give Nintendo credit. I didn't notice it till years later, till I saw it in a magazine. They put a bunch of the controllers in a row, and they line up. Like the D-pad to the A/B button lines up from the original to the SNES to the Game Boy or GameCube. Even though the GameCube was funky as hell looking, the Nintendo original controller was in there.
I will take the GameCube controller over that goddamn monstrosity from N64 any day of the week.
Actually, I mean, other than those special ones I have that you got to use them when you were up here, the GameCube controller, if you don't look at it and you just know where the buttons are, is actually quite comfortable.
Yeah, and it doesn't have useless shit like the N64 one does with those yellow buttons. And then you
Oh,
got to hold it this way for that game, and then upside down and inside out for that one. Go to hell.
well, and I think it might be Retroed or something like that. I got their Dreamcast one, because the Dreamcast is painful to hold on to. They made a Super Nintendo, or not Super Nintendo, they made an N64 one that's more boomerang styled,
All right, worst controllers. That would be N64. End of list.
and Dreamcast, and the original Xbox.
Oh, the Beast, the
The
brick,
Beast, yeah, the one before they made the S version.
the one where you had to actually put on the floor and like use your foot.
Yeah, I think it was actually designed as a rocker, like some kind of VR system. That thing was so huge. Luckily, when I got my Xbox, it was older, so it came with the S versions, which were
This
actually
this
normal.
this thing takes a car battery.
My God, yeah, you could jump your car with the thing. That thing
I
was
remember
cool.
using one of those. Like Jesus, what the fuck? This thing weighs 9 pounds.
Well, it was like the Sega Saturn came out. Its first controllers were big round discs. I'm like, what the hell? What were they thinking? They didn't
Trying
last long. They came out with a
trying
really
to get too
quick.
cute.
Well, they wanted to be different, and they failed miserably. So here's a weird one. It's not a console. I
This is
have
your number one.
no. I still got two left. I had four.
Oh, okay.
It's a.
Forget what I said about top three.
I thought I only had three, but I guess I had four.
Okay, whatever. Go ahead.
I'm weird that way. I can't count. Thrustmaster with the throttle. It.
I think I think you're in the wrong store when you bought this one.
Yeah. Oh no, it's good. I
Is this
used
a
to.
KB?
I
Oh
used.
no, this is
I used to love jet games, and I had the X-wing games and the Tie Fighter games and that. And the Thrustmaster was. It was like a jet's controller, and the throttle gave you the speed, and you could program all the buttons. Like it was insanely ridiculous. But when you got into jet games, it was amazing. You know what? I could take that off the list because you know what? Yours are all consoles. I have my last one as a console. We could just keep it console. Sega off-brand six-button gamepad. I had the three-button Sega version, but I had six-axis. I think made it the six-button one, which I talked about in our other 16-bit podcast, where it especially for fighting, you had a controller knob like an arcade knob, and then you had six buttons that you could tap the living fuck out of, and it was great for Mortal Kombat. or any fighting game. Actually, it was great for any game that was kind of arcade based because it had that joystick feel. Um, and it was heavy enough where I could put it on my lap and it didn't like. Sometimes when you have those, they rock all over. They're not
Yeah.
stationary enough. This one actually just it fit perfect. It was good. It you could kind of hold it down and tap the buttons at the same time. It yeah, it was good stuff. That's all I got to say about that. And we mark that off the list. Three. But I would say the worst would be Nintendo's original controller, the Dreamcast controller, the Sega Saturn original controller, the Xbox original controller. And there's one oh, and the Nintendo 64 controller.
God, I hate that Nintendo
That's
64 controller.
5 controllers for consoles that sucked ass. It and
What are,
that's brand name. I mean, you could always go
we go those what was those
Mad Cats,
Mad
Interactive.
Cat, that's the one I was.
Mad Cats were horrible, except for the Dreamcast one. The Dreamcast one, it came out a little bit more instead of being so freaking weirdly shaped. And I love my Mad Catz Dreamcast controller, but other than that, their controller sucked ass.
Well, also you had to make room for that freaking insert thing.
Oh, the VMU.
Yeah.
That was a great idea though. I loved that when I would play E2 Sports football. The um, the play would be on that, so your person you were playing against couldn't see what you were picking.
Yeah, it's a smart idea, but it doesn't. I mean, it weighs the controller down, and then you have to have it weirdly shaped.
Yeah, that weirdly shaped. So I bought the retro. I don't have it over here. I bought the retroed one, and it's shaped very similarly to the boomerang style, and uh, and it still takes the VMU and everything, but they just try to get fancy, and they didn't need to get fancy. That was the problem. The Dreamcast is one of my favorite consoles to date, and it has one of the worst effing controllers to date. It was painful. Like your hand was just crippled afterwards. But damn it, if I didn't play the living crap out of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater on it, it is the best version of Pro Skater there is.
See, I felt that way about trying to hold the N64 controller. Like, why do I have this left side of this fucking thing when nobody's gonna use it?
Yeah, it was horrible. There's a list. Um, Franchise games or versions on other systems that are the best. We kind of touched on it with the 16-bit one.
Yeah, I know, but I haven't played.
Yeah, that's true. I haven't played the other versions of a lot of them, so I guess that wouldn't work. You'd almost need to have other people's opinion on it.
Fuck them. I don't want to hear it from them.
No, unless it's in the comments.
And our next comment will be our first one.
Interactions. Yeah, that's all I got for controllers.
That's all you need to have.
That's true. All right, where's the start stop button? This is a short one for all those people out there, for the shorties.
Hey, leave me out of this.
Yeah.